Namaste everyone, welcome to our 7th day of the World Interfaith Harmony Week. Today is a gala celebration for this week. We had a beautiful 6 days with the different religious leaders, political leaders, and our New York State Assembly and Senate made a resolution for interfaith. That's a big victory we made. So here I like to welcome everyone. This is my great pleasure and honor to bring my friends together to celebrate interfaith harmony. One of the interreligious pioneer is our Dr. Imam Shamsi Ali. He's one of our long-time religious friend. He's a community activist and down to earth. Whenever we call, he's ready to support us. That's the way Imam is. I never saw another Imam like him. My real brother from my own blood. Imam Shamsi Ali is the founder and president of the Nusantara Foundation, and he is always active at the UN, travel around the globe. I hope next year he can visit India. We're supposed to go last December. We changed the plan because of the corona. Imam Shamsi Ali, floor is for you.
Thank you, Guruji. Good morning, namaste, peace, salam, and shalom to everybody. Allow me in the beginning to thank and appreciate Guruji. Really, he is our guru on the interfaith works and partnership in defending one another's right to live in the harmonious and loving environment. I'm happy to be a part of these morning gatherings, and in time that we are still deeply challenged. As we remember the COVID-19, many lives, many jobs have been lost. And I think one of the most important issue that also people are facing is a mental issue at the moment. And that create many insecure situations in our community. But in the midst of this trying moment, we have found strength and motivations. We have found wisdom. We are all reminded of our human solidarity. We are all reminded of common humanity, common interest, shared aspirations, and destiny. We come to realize more clearly that all of us are on the same boat. And we are also realize that there are only two possibilities in front of us in facing this challenge. One, join hands and fight together to defeat this pandemic and its consequences. Or otherwise, we are going to be defeated and destroyed together. For those of us who believe in our respective religious beliefs, I'm confident that all religious teachings teach us to nurture our love and compassion, to advance togetherness, unity, and build friendship, brotherhood, and partnership for common good. So allow me to quote one of the statements of the Prophet Muhammad when he said that the believers in their mutual kindness, compassion, and sympathy are just like one body. When a part of the body suffers, the whole body will suffer pain and fever. On the other hand, dear friends, we see that the world we live in today is a world full of paradoxes. People claim to be more advanced in telecommunications. Instead, miscommunication among the people have become much more common. People claim to be advanced, to have advanced minds and civilizations. Instead, some people behave and act uncivilizedly. So as I am reflecting on how to face this challenging moment of ours, it reminds me also a verse in the Quran on the importance of building partnership. And it says, "O mankind, we created you from a male and a female, and we made you into nations and tribes." And the word nation is not only nation states, but it means groups within oneness of our family. We created you from a male and a female, and we made you into nations and tribes so that you get to know one another. But the best among you in the sight of God are the most righteous ones. The word getting to know, it is not only to know who you are, from where are you from, what language you're speaking, but it is about building a sincere commitment to join and to extend our hands to one another in facing the challenges of our world. For that, let me remind myself and all of us several points to leave you with. Number one, we must challenge ourselves to go beyond the comfort zone of our egoistic tendencies, particularly when we come to our religious views, where oftentimes we use our religious conviction as a justification for division rather than partnership and unity, hatred rather than love and compassion, violence rather than harmony, and building common interests. Second, we must continue building an awareness that in this global world, no single person, no single country can do things without the others. Our world has become deeply interconnected and interdependent. Therefore, we must challenge ourselves to learn to collectively responsible. Three, we must be courageous enough, and it is very important for all of us people who are on religious field. We must be courageous enough to remind our leaders, and I mean here particularly political leaders as well, to ensure equity and social justice. For those in America, for those of us in America, the phrase "we the people and justice for all" must not remain only slogans. It's a time for our leaders to act and ensure that social justice for all prevail. Finally, we have also come to realize that the time is deeply divided racially. And I think it's a time to accept that none has superiority over others on the merit of skin color, on the merit of race, ethnicity, and cultural, also religious affiliations. In fact, in my view, there is only one superiority, and that is God's superiority that had been divided equally into all human beings, so that we are all equal in the sight of God. Finally, my friends, the most evident threat to our world peace is injustice itself. So let's join hands to fight against injustices so that genuine peace can be achieved and prevail. And remember, it is enough for evil to thrive when the good people say or do nothing. So let's raise our voice, our collective voice, so that we can achieve a real world peace. And once again, I would like to thank our Guru for his leadership, continued leadership, and his sincere commitment to bring us together so that we can work together for our world peace. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Imam. Starting with your wisdom, I appreciate you brought so many areas. What is the most important things we had to make a change in the world?
Of course, we must begin with ourselves. And the fact that we are here together, it means that to such an extent, we have challenged our own self to go beyond the barrier that apparently divide us as humans, as one human family. And we are deeply challenged because of the circumstances we live in. You see, the pandemic has brought more gaps between the haves and the have-nots. The rich are becoming richer, and the poor are becoming poorer. And I think as people of religion, religion must be a bridge between the people, that we can work together despite of diverse things that we have in life. You know, I am a Muslim, Guruji is a Hindu, we have Buddhists here, Christians and Jewish. All those affiliations must be bridges for us. You know, for us in New York City, what we, in time that I remind me about Donald Trump, in time that he tried to build walls, I used to say, and I don't mean that basically political, but it is a kind of political, that we New Yorkers do not like walls. What we like bridges. Because the boroughs of New York City are connected through bridges. Manhattan and Queens, Bronx are all connected by bridges. So our religious affiliations must be the bridges for us to connect ourselves. That we are all one human family. We came from the same source, our God. And so I think we have to utilize our religious conviction for good. And I'm sure that every religious teaching must be for good, because any religion that leads us otherwise is not religion. And I have to say that. And religion must be spiritual. It is not only something which is related to our formality, formal things that we show the people around. For me as a Muslim, it's not about how many times I go to the mosque, how many times that I prostrate down to worship my Lord, but how can I take that into realization, actualize that into my social life, in building connection with my neighbors. And let me just mention once again the story, when I came to this country over 2 decades ago, I had a neighbor, happened to be a Catholic, Irish Catholic, senior citizen. And every morning he came out from his house, as my neighbor, cleaned his driveway and mine too. So in the beginning, instead of having this positive mind, I had that negativity, what he wanted to do with me, because I was so scared to be converted. Maybe he wanted to talk about his religious faith. What weeks, months, he never talked about religion. But you know what? I realized later on that this family taught me about what does it mean to be religion. What does it mean to be religious people? Religious people is not that how much you pray to God only. Of course, we see that's important, but it's not about only that. It is about how to connect ourselves to one another as children of God, as servants of God. And for me, that's what we have to do in order to make our world more peaceful.
That's a good experience you mentioned about that family. I have a personal question. When you met me first time, what did you feel the first moment about me?
Guruji, I came from, I was born in Indonesia, the largest Muslim country in the world. And then I went to Pakistan to pursue my higher study, so my master's degree in Pakistan. And then I went to Saudi Arabia to teach as a teacher. So you can imagine these 3 countries, Indonesia, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. Muslim countries, Muslim majority countries. Almost I'd never encountered with non-Muslims. I have to acknowledge that. So what I have on the back of my head is about non-Muslim is different people. So when I see you as a different person. I have a lot of, prejudicial things in my mind about, who is this person is, But as we are engaged and I see your smiles, I see your work, I see your sincerity, I see, you know what? Religion is supposedly to teach us how to relate ourselves to one another. It is not to divide us. If any religion divides the people, that religion must be corrected. Because religion is unity, religion is love, religion is spirituality, and spirituality has no bounds, no border. It is interconnected. The more you're religious, the more you are spiritual, and the more you are spiritual, the more you can be connected to one another as a human. So human beings are different, but humanity is one. Yeah. And religion has come to deal with our humanity. That's what I do understand about my faith and my religion. So thank you, Guruji.
Yeah, thank you. You brought the best point. Often I tell people it's not about the problem from the religion or the religious theology. Actually, that's from the people, how they behave. That's a major thing. Thank you, Imam Shamsi Ali, blessing us and with your all the beautiful words as usual. I'm so happy you're joining. And definitely please join on the 28th. That's our final gala. So we'll be in touch. And now I'd like to invite Reverend Doyeon from my NGO committee. That is a committee of religious NGOs at the United Nations, and she's a representative for One Buddhism. Actually, she's a silent interfaith activist. She do in peaceful way. I can say so much about her without delaying the time. I want to invite her so she can speak. Thank you, Reverend Doyeon.
Greetings of peace to you all. What a wonderful way to start the day. Or for those of you who are joining us from a different time zone, what a peaceful way to end the day. And I have to first start with a deep bow to the organizer, Guru Dileepji, the World Yoga Community, for bringing us from different corners of the world. And many of you already know this is not just one program he's been putting together. It is the last and the 7th day of a week-long celebration he's been coordinating with other religious and spiritual leaders. Well, I couldn't make all previous programs, but I have joined some and watched some recordings. And at one point, I thought, wow, Guru Dileepji, he really makes this World Interfaith Harmony Week celebration. But I'm sure he, in fact, most of us, we all know that this interfaith harmony is not just a week-long, but a lifelong journey. And my bow also goes to our honorable speakers and performers today. I'm here today not just to deliver my words, but also to learn and grow by listening to what you have to say from your respective traditions. And of course, my bow, I also bow to every one of you out there watching this program now or later. Because your presence, your effort, your attention is most urgent and needed in the promotion of sustainable peace and harmony. And my particular tradition, as Guruji described, is called One Buddhism. It's not like we're number one or we're the only one, not that one, but it's WON, literally means circle in Korean. So right now I'm sitting in my meditation hall and you see the circle above the altar here behind me. And it symbolizes an awakened mind within all of us. And we call it, from the Buddhist tradition, Buddha nature. We can call original nature, true nature, or divine nature. So this awakened mind, this true nature has no boundary. As Imam Shamsi mentioned, is no boundary, meaning that all people, regardless of their race, gender, or religion, has this awakened mind and heart that is calm, clear, generous, compassionate, and selfless. So in One Buddhism, we say spiritual practice is to uncover and nourish this innate quality. And I do also believe that realizing this awakened mind within all of us is the essential step towards mutual understanding and cooperation. Sotaesan, the founding master of One Buddhism, has a unique story that I would like to share briefly, and it shows why Won Buddhism is taking an active role in interfaith dialogue and cooperation, locally and internationally. After Sotaesan's enlightenment in 1916, he got some of the other basic essential scriptures from Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, Christianity, and some other teachings from Eastern religions. And reading them, he said, oh, ancient sages had known what I have come to know. Though they use different words to express their awakening according to different times and place, the ultimate reality they experienced was one and the same. And I find it very thought-provoking that Sotaesan confirmed his awakening by understanding other spiritual texts. Think about, once you master one language, you understand anyone who speaks that language. So then I think all these sages or enlightened masters are those who master the language of spirituality. So they understand one another without any difficulties. So we see that their wisdom, their teachings are timeless and placeless. Again, it has no boundaries, no limits. So from this point of view, the Won Buddhist community, we are our responsibility to share this teaching and to be part of the effort to bring more peace and harmony in the world. While I was listening to Imam Shamsi Ali, I've been always great to see and hear his teachings. He talks about oneness. He talks about how we're all interrelated, interdependent. Well, I could hear that as one of the great Buddhist Dharma talks. His message has, again, no boundaries, no limits. And along with his message, or from his heart, actually, I would like to share a slide, words from a Buddhist teacher who has recently passed away, the Thich Nhat Hanh. He is a great Buddhist teacher, practitioner, peacemakers, and activist. He has great words, wisdom here available, and I thought this is something that I would like to share with you today. Let me see if I can do this screen share. Yes. This is one of my favorite quotes from his many books. If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without a cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not there, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. If we look into this sheet of paper even more deeply, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow. Even we cannot grow without sunshine, and so we know that the sunshine is also in this sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we are continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. And we see the wheat. We know the logger cannot exist without his daily bread, and therefore the wheat that became his bread is also in this sheet of paper. And the logger's father and mother are in it too. When we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. Thich Nhat Hanh put it in a very beautiful, poetic way here. But this is something that we, as a spiritual practitioner, looking into these words. So for me, my practice, whenever I see the nature, whenever I see each one of you here, how I can see you from this whole universe perspective, recognizing your true nature, your Buddha nature that is not different from mine. So this interfaith harmony celebration and the work that we're doing here together, I'm sure that we all have these great teachings and tools from our respective traditions. The only thing is that for us to take it and apply it into our day-to-day life. Again, as Master Thich Nhat Hanh said, and there are many other teachers and sages are pointing out, we cannot just be, we have to interbe. Therefore, your well-being is deeply related to my own well-being. So I'm not just helping others, by helping others, helping myself. So it is great way to do this work together with all of you. And I really appreciate for this opportunity. So thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Reverend Doyeon Park. You brought wonderfully. Yes, we all work together. We are not going to lead anybody. We'll walk with our hands. We hold other people's hand, walk together as brothers and sisters. You see, I want to ask you a question. You are an NGO representative and you are a secretary at the CRNGOs at the UN. How do you feel as a woman at the UN promoting religion? Did you get any really hard time from other people, especially men, there can be sometimes me.
Well, I guess my life has been very fortunate to first find my path in the Won Buddhist community, especially within the Won Buddhist community. We are very from the beginning, the women's education and women's equality was very much of the upfront. So I was very lucky to be in this community. And then from that support, whenever I go out there, meeting people at the UN NGO community, well, actually, I'm very fortunate to have all these supportive brothers and sisters from other traditions. So there's not much of the big challenges, but there are a little bit, and yet the little bit of the challenges that also, inspires me to work more and see the value or meaning of this collective effort. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah,
like yourself, we have this great man out there supporting, particularly women.
I always support because I grew up with my mother. She was very strong in the humanitarian level. My sister is a state attorney. She worked in the High Court of Kerala, go around the globe and work. So I had a very easy time with them. So I have so many friends from her circle. I'm glad you brought this wonderful experience. That's very important to know for other people. A lot of people are watching online. So we had to work together, doesn't matter male or female or whatever gender they have. That's why we bring the interfaith harmony. Thank you so much. Now I like to invite Ursula Bustillos from Bolivia. She is a past Miss Bolivia. Ursula, are you there? I don't know what happened. I think it may be a connection problem. I saw her anyway. So then in the case, I'll invite Dr. Charles Chesnavage. Is the adjunct professor at the Unification Theological Seminary and the Mercy College. And last 18 years, he's putting interfaith harmony events in youngest. I always go there and celebrate with him. Yesterday, we had a wonderful event. He organized that program. and the dedication, amazing. A lot of time people get tired after a few times, but for him, no, he never give up. That's the best part about it. And few times he brought me to the Mercy College and the UTS. UTS I always go and give lectures and I share my views. He invited me. That was a beautiful event with the students. I enjoy always with the students. Without delay, I want to invite. I call him Chakchi. That's why, like the Dileepji Chakchi. Chakchi, floor is for you.
Thank you very much, Guruji, and greetings to everyone. Peace, salam, shante, satnam, peace, 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 om shanti. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak in this final day of World Interfaith Harmony Week. Time flies. 18 years goes by very quickly, and I'm very grateful that we have been able to have this celebration that originally started honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Christian Unity Week in January. I was only going to bring together the Christian churches, the different Christian churches, for an ecumenical service. I was working in a Roman Catholic parish in Brooklyn, New York. Myself, I am Roman Catholic. And then after attending an interfaith service that included the world religions, I decided to invite the world. And so I invited the world religions along with the Christian religions 18 years ago. In 2010, when the United Nations and the King Abdul of Jordan designated the first week of February as World Interfaith Harmony Week, I began dedicating the services to World Interfaith Harmony and moving the service to the first week of February. The last 2 years, the service has been on Zoom because of COVID. And one thing I noticed at yesterday's service was that in my opening remarks, I did not mention COVID. I mentioned COVID last year because in my own family, in 1 week, my wife had 3 family members die 2 Aprils ago during Holy Week, during Passover, when the angel of death was very busy. She lost her mother, her aunt, and her uncle in 1 week. They were all brothers and sisters. At the time of my mother-in-law's death, Dominga, my wife was hospitalized with COVID. I had COVID as well. It was a very difficult week. So last year we had our service on Zoom, and this year, but I did not mention COVID this year. And it seems in not mentioning COVID that we are adjusting, accepting, and maybe moving on, despite so many people still being sick and dying each day, and despite 800,000 people having died in this country and millions worldwide. I mentioned the context for the service being the Chinese New Year, celebrating spring, and the celebration of Imbolc in the Celtic calendar, celebrating spring, even as snow falls here in New York, and we're reminded of winter. Do these spring festivals occurring now in February remind us of something, or are they trying to tell us something that we don't know? When one group of people have a celebration of a spring festival and another group is celebrating or seeing the seasons in winter. As the service proceeded yesterday, peace along with action came up. Peace and prayers require actions. We pray what we believe. We believe what we pray. And we act on what we pray and believe. Our actions are based on what we pray and believe. And yesterday, one of our participants of the past who was not able to be present, who belongs to the Quaker tradition, the Society of Friends tradition, sent me this message for the service. In the Quaker Society of Friends tradition, their worship consists of silence, very similar to Zen meditation or meditation in many other religions. Their worship consists of an hour of sitting in silence, what they call standing in the light, allowing the spirit to move within each person as they silently worship and as they examine their own consciences. They call it standing in the light. And Mary Eagleson said this: I would suggest that we not only pray for peace, but that we ask ourselves how our lives and lifestyles may be contributing to pressures for war. If we find that some part of our life is contrary to our desire for peace, that we pray for guidance about what we may do about it. Those were her words asking us to examine our consciences, to remember that within us is a wolf and a lamb, a lion and a lamb. And to the child who asked their grandfather, which one wins if there is a wolf and a lamb inside of us? If there is a lion and a lamb inside of us, which one wins? And the wise grandfather said, the one that we feed. What do we feed in our hearts? What do we feed in our minds? What do we feed in our lives? The lion, the lamb, peace or violence? The prophet Isaiah brought those two animals together. In the peaceable kingdom, Isaiah said the lion and the lamb will coexist. Like the floating lantern ceremony in Buddhism, fire can float on water. Water does not put fire out. Fire and water coexist peacefully. We learn these lessons from animals to teach humans how to live. We learn these lessons from fire and water to teach humans how to live. How simple, but how difficult to live out when we allow our differences to promote hatred, war, murder, and violence. I teach world religions at Mercy College and Unification Theological Seminary in Manhattan. And these are classes where I teach the students some of these lessons to live together peacefully. And so I have a brief video that I have shared in the past just to show you how the world religions are lived out in New York City. Guruji, do I have the opportunity to share my screen?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. This is a very brief video by Muriel Stockdale, just to give you an example of how the world religions are lived out in New York. And I think you may be able to appreciate some of your own traditions viewed in the film. And I have over 13 world religions gathered at my service. So hopefully this will be successfully shared.
thy name.
So thank you, Guruji, for allowing me to share that and to share my thoughts and words on World Interfaith Harmony Week. We saw the drums of prayer in the Native American and in the indigenous populations and traditions, and we know that there are the drums of war beating right now in Ukraine and in Russia and in the hearts of others. And so we pray for peace this day, and we promote World Interfaith Harmony to bring about that peace through our actions. Thank you very much.
I'm so glad you brought that video clip. I love it. I was ready to dance. It brought so many cultures in within 3 minutes. That's pretty good. Please share that video with me. We can use for different events.
Yes.
So please wait there. I want to invite one person. She's struggling to get her line. Where is she? I cannot see her now. Okay, she may come back. So I have one question. The first moment you want to make an interfaith gathering, 18 years back, what was it? What made you to think that?
Well, I was director of liturgy, so I was in charge of planning different prayer services in the parish of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Brooklyn. I was interested in interreligious and interfaith dialogue. During my graduate studies in Chicago at Catholic Theological Union in the 1980s, I had a very powerful experience visiting a Lakota reservation and encountering and experiencing Lakota indigenous ceremonies. It provided a very different image and understanding of God beyond my own. I kind of passed over, and I learned something about another indigenous religion that had a very serious and major impact on me. I would also sit and meditate with Korean Buddhist monks, learning how to meditate, learning how to breathe. And that expanded my notions of prayer and of God. And so I had this interest in interreligious, interfaith dialogue from these experiences. And I attended an interreligious, interfaith service at Memorial United Methodist Church in White Plains, New York, where they invited many representatives from the world religions to pray, and they had flags representing each religious symbol. And after that ceremony, I took their program, and I used their program to be the template for my very first service. So I tried to invite the same 10 representatives. I invited them to recite either their own prayers or prayers that were in that program. And that's what started the service 18 years ago. And then it continued up to today with it being incorporated as a World Interfaith Harmony event. And we have had many people participate, like yourself, for many years. And so participants like to come back and participate because they look forward to the ceremony each year. Even though it's only once a year, we try to stay in touch. And I have many of them on speed dial, and many of them come and speak to my students. Because we also believe very much in Christopher Stendel's 3 rules for religious understanding. The first rule is, if you want to know about a religion, ask someone from that religion and not an enemy. It's also good to ask more than one person from that religion. The second is, don't compare your best to their worst. Don't say my God is better than your God. Don't say my beliefs are better than your beliefs. Don't say my way is right and your way is wrong. Understand that we have similarities and differences, and we are meant to come to understand each other. Because to compare one's best to another's worst is to promote divisions and even war, violence, and death. And then the third rule is to have holy envy for another religious tradition, or holy appreciation. What is it that we can appreciate about another religion? I came to appreciate the great spirit of the Lakota. That great spirit was known as Wakantanka. Metakwiasin was their holy words, meaning all my relatives, we are all related. I came to appreciate the benefits of meditation and Buddhism. I came to appreciate yoga by becoming a 200-hour certified yoga teacher, benefiting from the physical and the spiritual and the mental benefits of yoga. And through holy envy and appreciation, I have continued to be motivated and inspired to have this service. I also received my doctorate from Fordham University in 2016. And my dissertation research was on interreligious prayer. So the service also inspired me to get my doctorate, and that was my research. on interreligious prayer.
That's very interesting. Thank you, Dr. Chakchi,
Thank you.
bringing this your personal experience. I like to always hear people's personal experience.
Yes.
Thank you. Just wait there. We may have some more questions. Before inviting Steve, I'm just giving few minutes to Ursula because she's having an internet connection problem. She's calling from Bolivia. She used to be an NGO representative at the United Nations. She worked with us a long time. Ursula, please unmute yourself. Yeah, just quick say, otherwise, please bring your message. Ursula.
Hello, everyone from Bolivia. I send you much love and thank you for this opportunity to be at the World Interfaith Festival.
Bienvenidos.
In this opportunity, I would like to invite every one of you because we are starting a new year, a year that is, we have to be with peace, our inner peace, to transfer that inner peace to others and live in a community. So I would like to every one of us close our eyes and think in 8 people, the number of infinity. So could be a person that is living with us, or could be also a person of our ancestors. And visualize the face of these 8 people that belongs or are close to you. Now, to each of them, we are gonna do a forgiveness ceremony. We close our eyes, we breathe deep, and tell them to forgive us if we make any mistake in this life or in the past, because we want to have and we want to spread peace in each other from our deep heart, from our minds, to transfer this to our generations, to our ancestors, to our closest family, friends. We send all the vibes to forgive each other, to live in a better world. This is a special moment that we are sharing our love to each other. That's what I wanted to share to all of you, a beautiful and so meaningful forgiveness ceremony that we do in my country. Much love from Bolivia.
Muchas gracias, Ursula. That is wonderful. I'm glad you are able to enter in the meeting. You're trying so many times.
Thank
Muchas
you.
gracias a ti, Guru.
Yeah. So we'll be in touch. Okay.
Much love to all of you.
Yeah. Say hi
Thank you,
to
Ursula.
everyone there. Now I'll invite Steve Chiu. He's an NGO representative at the UN for Buddhist Sushi Foundation and the treasurer of the CRNGOs. Currently, is working with me at the CRNGOs. Very dynamic personality. Thereafter, I'll invite Richard. Then we'll have a beautiful music from Michelle DellaFave. So, Steve, floor is for you.
Thanks so much, Guruji. Hi, everyone. Happy Interfaith Harmony Week and a happy Lunar New Year to you all. I think as this year comes by, I'm once again reminded of a third year where we're celebrating Interfaith Harmony Week digitally because of COVID, but at the same time still being so filled with love, joy, and wisdom, thanks to everyone sharing so far. So in being invited for this conversation, I think I asked Guruji, like, what do you want me to bring? What do you want me to reflect on? And he only gave me one phrase. He said, future generations. And so with that, I'm just going to run with it and give you all some offerings and reflections from both myself and then also some insights from my organization, Tsuji Foundation. So I think we really still continue to find ourselves in this very tumultuous moment of disruption, impermanence, and suffering, right? And so if there was ever a moment where the Buddha's teachings of the impermanence of life and how our attachments create this cycle of suffering and how there is a path out of this suffering is relevant, it is in this moment. Right. And like so many of our other speakers have shared, this sentiment, this awakening to the true nature of our lives is not just found in the teachings of Buddhism, but found throughout our various faith traditions. So coming together for Interfaith Harmony Week to be in dialogue and to learn from each other's wisdom is so exciting for this reason, in that we not only get to discover and relive the wisdoms that we already know, but find new forms in how we can manifest that wisdom into action. So we know COVID-19 has really exacerbated a lot of these underlying inequalities and strained our social fabrics. And there's been a lot of conversation within the UN and outside the UN about how we build back better, right? Because to build back alone does not mean that we are coming to a place that is good for all people. Right? We've seen that these underlying inequalities have existed before COVID-19, right? These are things around poverty, these are lack of access to basic human rights, and to build back to the world that we were before COVID is not enough, right? We have to transition in a just and equitable way towards a future that carries the vision of compassion, that carries the vision of our interconnectedness, that recognizes our interdependence, not only with each other, but with nature as well. And so as faith and spiritual organizations, we have deep moral and ethical responsibilities to hold that voice of what a just and equitable transition looks like. Right? To not only say that we must pave a path forward for future generations to flourish in a way that is equitable, but do so without marginalizing the most vulnerable, and to do so at the expense of our own Mother Earth, to coexist with nature, right? And so with this, I wanted to offer some questions and thoughts related to what kind of world we want to see as we transition beyond this moment towards the future. What kind of world do we want to leave for future generations, and how do we get there, right? So for our faith leaders who are working with youth, what does it mean to empower versus what does it mean to extract? So much of our relationships with each other default towards extractive relationships, ones that exploit the joy of the youth and the innocent, and do so in a way that does not leave them better after our interactions with them, but instead leaves them stripped of that joy and their faith in our faith and our religious teachings. Right? This is not all of us, but we do fall prey to this extractive relationship when we do not carry the wisdom of the long-lasting impacts of our actions, right? So to empower means to not only provide the opportunities for youth to be at their best and to utilize their skills at their highest level, but to nourish and nurture them to avoid burnout, to avoid that sentiment of their efforts being wasted, and to allow them the space to cultivate their curiosity in their faith in a healthy and safe way. To empower means to look towards that sentiment of discovery, curiosity, and dialogue rather than proselytization and a patriarchal command structure. For faith leaders working with youth, how can we translate the rich beauty found in our faith traditions and wisdom and relate to those who have been burnt out by religion? Within this current generation and seeing trending forward, youth are very much spiritual but not religious. They are those who believe in spiritual teachings but find themselves scared of the organizations and religious institutions that carry these beautiful wisdom. How can we as religious leaders really connect back to those who have been hurt by these religious institutions and bring them into this space of being able to be connected to our wisdom without feeling the pain of these institutions that have once inflicted upon them? What does it mean to have interfaith partnership when, like Imam Shamsi Ali spoke to earlier, we have often trended towards egoistic tendencies? What does it mean to set aside our own joy and pride of our individual religion and come together to recognize the richness that our diaspora brings, similar to what Guruji and we are doing today? How can we really model the moral and ethical frameworks we wish to embody in a moment when we see so much hypocrisy within each other? Right? What does it mean to set aside our own egos and to come forth and say that we are still in this moment of learning, and that we, while learning, may make mistakes, but we are willing to learn from those mistakes and go beyond that to try to model these ethical frameworks we wish to see? And then finally, how do we ensure that in these fast-moving moments in the digital world that the youth are deeply exposed to, that we can really slow down and bring that sense of aged wisdom to those who are really working at the front lines of transforming our societies, to ensure that they have that wisdom amongst them too? And so for our youth who are wishing to pave for the future, what suffering do you see in this world right now? And what can you do to alleviate this in the present moment? I think amongst a lot of youth, we hold these sentiments of knowing what is right and what is wrong in the world. We can see what needs to happen and what is missing and what these gaps are. However, oftentimes we think that we do not have the power, that we do not have the right actions and resources to really help the world go beyond what we see as a problem. But recognizing that our power does not come from ourselves alone, but from the community that we build, and by step, one small action at a time, accumulating to create the results that we wish to see, what actions can we take in this present moment? And then finally, as we've reflected already before, how are you taking care of your mental well-being? Recognizing that COVID-19 and this entire era is so taxing on our mental wellness, how can we ensure that as youth working to create a brighter future, that we ourselves are taking care of our inner well-being while trying to address the outer wellness as well? And so ultimately, I would implore us to not walk this life alone and to continue to be in dialogue with each other, similar to what is happening today. I'm gaining so much just from listening to you all, and I'm so grateful to be in this dialogue with you. And finally, I'll close with an aphorism from our founder, who reflects that the future is an illusion and the past is a memory. Hold on to the goodness that is in our heart at this present moment and take care to fulfill the duties that we have at hand. No matter what, we only have the present moment, and I'm so grateful to be with you all in this present moment. Thank you so much.
Oh, my dear brother, you made me very youth now. I feel I'm like a 15. What a dynamic presentation. I enjoy. I have a question. In case you becoming a Secretary General of the UN, what action you'll take in the first moment?
Oh boy, I have no ambitions to become the Secretary General of the
In
UN.
case, I said in case.
But I would definitely say that engagement with faith-based organizations would be one of my highest priorities, not only just at the UN system itself, but looking at how the UN system streamlines back down to national governments, and then within the various resident coordinators, making sure that they are deeply engaged with religious and spiritual communities on the ground. Because what we've found within Tzu and what we've found within our various NGO communities has been that implementation of the 2030 agenda has come forth best when it is integrated with religious and spiritual communities, because that's where the people's hearts and faith lies, right? It's one thing for an outside organization to come in and tell you that you need to change your behavior and lifestyle in order to make the world a more sustainable place. I don't know you, I don't trust you, but if your religious leader comes to you within your own place of worship, within your community, and shares that there is a way to manifest these teachings in a compassionate and loving way to create an even better world, the amount of upkeep and the amount of actual action that comes forth from that sort of implementation is so much more effective.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We had to bring more spirituality to the UN system. I was asking so in the UN with so many events, what happened to the spirituality in the Sustainable Development Goals? That should be the first one. I'm not talking
And
about religion, spirituality, you know.
Yeah, and I think religious organizations and spiritual organizations play such a strong role in ensuring that we do not stray towards hyper-materialism at the cost of people and planet, right? It's at the core of what the UN was created for. And as we see this expansion of materialism and people's obsession with the physical realm without attachment to this spiritual connection that we have with each other, we are at risk of falling towards hypermaterialism, right? And it's up to us as faith and religious organizations to uphold the spiritual component of our lives.
Thank you, my brother Steve. That's wonderful to hear your vision and mission. I am looking forward to see you in a different position at the UN.
Thanks, Guruji. And thanks for
So now
having
I
us.
like to invite Richard Jordan from the Blue community. Richard, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Guruji. I see many dear friends here, including Margaret Rose, whom I know from many places in the Episcopal Church. I just wanted to show you two books, one written by Bishop Mark Andrus, having to figure out how to get this on the screen, Brothers in the Beloved Community, about Thich Nhat Hanh and Martin Luther King Jr., and another, The Eyes of Compassion, written by Thich Nhat Hanh. One of my avocations for 60 years has been to go to funerals of famous people, and I was privileged, for some reason the universe was gracious to me, to actually follow Thich Nhat Hanh's burial a few weeks ago, an incredible global event. So there are a few thoughts that I would like to share before I go into a 4-hour meeting on Zoom. One, if you know former Ambassador Isaiah Chabala, we have a joyful, what shall I say, relationship in which he calls himself the cloud and I am the shadow. So it's something that just happens at the UN. It wouldn't occur anywhere else. For those of you who were at the UN before the renovation, when we had the North Lawn building, you will remember perhaps a man who did nothing all day but clean the windows and clean the glass doors. His name was Gregory. And Gregory had a great deal to say, but no one would ever speak with him except me, as far as I know. That's what he told me. And I call him Gregory the Illuminator. Imagine being of service and the only thing that you do all day is to clean the glass so that we all may see better. That's why he's an illuminator. I grew up in Flushing, home of the Quakers, home of many faith traditions now. So I'm very fortunate, former Roman Catholic. You can take the guy out of Holy Mother Church, but you can't take Holy Mother Church out of the guy. Chuck G will understand that one. Yeah, I'm glad. And I'm happy to say that I'm writing a book on the real 75th anniversary of the UN. This is a photo of the UN building under construction with construction workers from New York City unions cheering. To me, the real 75th anniversary of the UN is the laying of the cornerstone, October 24th, 1949. I'd like to tie the concept that Thich Nhat Hanh, I believe, expressed in that the future Buddha will not necessarily be a person, but it will be an organization or a community. And it is my feeling that the United Nations is a form of the future Buddha. that we are always striving to implement and live the principles of the UN Charter, to work with all of our friends in the multi-faith community. And there is a multi-faith calendar. If you want to find out about 500 religious festivals and feast days, check the multi-faith calendar out. It's printed in Vancouver, British Columbia, for many years. So my one thing that I would like to share is that I believe we are all part of the future Buddha, that spirit that if you've ever been to Nara and you've seen the great Buddha in the largest wooden structure on earth, and the Buddha his eyes are looking as if they are just about to open. And I feel that walking the corridors of the UN, meeting so many people in so many ways, is for me a daily practice of my eyes just about to open. But it never really happens every day. It's a process. And at some point, I will experience that nirvana, perhaps, that and enlightenment that is all of ours to realize. Thank you, Guruji, so much for allowing me to share some reflections.
Thank you, Richard. That was wonderful to hear and see those photos. I have a question.
Yeah.
Within this so many decades, you are at the UN, and you are one of the library of UN. Spend that much time for educating
You don't want to know.
and helping people. What was the best moment within these years?
And this was unrehearsed. Okay, the best, the moment that I waited for 39 years, it happened 3 years ago, when the election of the 75th president of the General Assembly occurred. And by the way, I have 40 tons of UN archives in various libraries. In New York City, you say you schlep things, and wow, have I schlepped. But the election had a very mundane process where delegates would come to a desk and show their grounds pass and be given their ballots. And all of a sudden, the delegate from Jamaica, who is blind, came on the line physically, and requested his ballot. It was the greatest moment to me that I experienced in 8,000 plus days at the United Nations, over 70,000 hours, when a man who is blind cast a vote for the 75th president of the UN General Assembly. And I've seen this delegate. He always comes to the Conference of Parties for the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So I know him. But this to me was what the UN is all about.
Yeah, that is very, very important. I remember when I was in the 9th grade, my sports teacher asked me, we have a state level competition going to happen, and can you be the volunteer leader? I said, why? So I asked, what kind of, you just wait for Saturday. So Saturday I saw children from different districts, different areas in the state, all from special needs. Some people cannot see eyes, or they cannot hear, they cannot talk, different types of issues. I was so stunned. Oh my God, how I handle. I never had that experience. So I had to collect some friends to help me, because we need 1 or 2 people for each person. That was a great experience. Then I thought myself, we are blessed actually. We don't have that much difficulty in our life, So that touched my heart very well. Thank you, Richard. You brought that beautiful point. Now we'll have a beautiful music from Michelle DellaFave.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm honored to be here. And this song talks about one of the virtues of humanity, which I pray becomes the most important values of human beings. We can be kind, kindness.
Hallelujah. You chose the best, perfect song for this event.
Thank you.
So you have another song for the last, right?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Shri Bhuvnesh Khosla from Arya Samaj. He's one of my friends from another state. Bhuvnesh ji. Yeah, probably. Thank you.
Namaste ji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Namaste Guruji and to all the noble souls who are present at this virtual event. May I just start with a universal prayer, with the message from Vedas. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma dukha bhavave. O Lord, in you may all be happy, may all be free of misery, may all realize goodness, and may no one suffer from pain. I bring this universal prayer, this message for all from the Holy Vedas, the most ancient scriptures mankind has known. The message of the Almighty Creator. It is not for one race, not for one religion, but for all mankind. First, I'd like to thank respected Guruji for giving me a few moments to be part of this wonderful program. I bring best wishes for Basant Panchami. It is the beginning of the preparation of spring. It is quite a coincidence that United Nations at this time of the year is actually marking the World Interfaith Harmony Week. Because while spring is not here yet, we all know that before something happens, a transformation must occur. Nature itself is preparing. That seed is some few feet below the ground. That seed is beginning to open itself. That when the time arrives in some 35, 40 days, a bud will come up, a new branch, a new leaf will be visible for all of us. But why is this relevant? Because we ourselves are part of this nature. What is the message to the human beings? Are we ready, as the nature is ready to transform itself? Are we transforming ourselves? We all know we've been through challenging times. We hope this pandemic is near its end. But as we move away from this time of challenge, can we transform ourselves? Be ready to what brings us next. We all talk about this global change, this need of this greater change. But I submit to you that the message is really that change will not happen unless we change ourselves. And We may talk about moving the mountains, but what about our own thoughts? Have we tried to change ourselves? Because if each one of us take that vow, that let me take the challenge of reducing my callousness, my rudeness, my insensitivity, and parallelly increase my humility, my politeness towards other human beings, no matter who they are, elder, younger, a different religion, different race, but universally treat all human beings as you would like to be treated yourselves. I think that itself will bring the change that we are looking for. We must remember that if this is a creation, then there must have been a creator. And that creator there's no beginning or end to that universal creator. The almighty power of the almighty God, we must recognize that not only invoking God during sorrowness or happiness, but remembering his eternal, omniscient presence all the time is that message. That power, that higher power gives us the strength, it gives us the movement, and it gives us the purity and the solace that we need in our daily lives. So on behalf of all the followers of the Vedic faith, I bring you the message of peace, encourage you to look in ourselves, our own selves, as the agent of that change. In conclusion, I thank you all for giving me the time, and I appreciate respected His Holiness Guruji's continued efforts in bringing the global interfaith community. Namaste, and thank you all.
Thank you, Bhuvnesh. I want to ask a question because you're
Sure.
from India. A long time you are in America. When you came to America, you see the difference. You get a cultural shock. So how did you adjust those shock?
Pretty interesting, actually. I've been in this country. We moved here February 3rd, 38 years ago. So it was quite interesting. Yeah. I think this was one nation where culture didn't really matter. It matters because you have your identity and you have to maintain what is good in your culture and adapt to what's new, right? This is a very education and a knowledge-based society. Yes, we have the ignorance of, that, you're doing this wrong and this and that, but I really felt it was the overall community was really welcoming, right? So the shock was not, I saw more acceptance than not, because coming from India, you're very diverse even within 10 kilometers from where you live, right? The food changes, the language changes, the dialect changes. Here you have 50 United States, and you have the freedom of practicing what religion or how you want to pray, as long as you are within the law of the land. And really, the Constitution, I felt, is what everybody is following, right? So when you have that order in society, I think we forget, like all of our practices, we all go back to our basic principles. And if your governing laws allow for that freedom, as long as I'm not infringing upon you, so I really thought it more accepting. Hopefully that helps.
Very great. That is the openness you had. So this is the place you can experience.
That's right.
Thank you. You will have the question answer in the last part. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I like to invite my longtime friend, Dr. Ada Okika. She is a very dynamic organizer for so many events, especially women's and issues and education, health. The last some years we did so many events together. Ada, I know you have few organizations. You can bring all the names there and explain all the stuff. Please, flourish for it.
Thank you, Reverend Guruji, for this introduction and for your persistence in trying to promote harmony in faith and religions within our environment. It has been so wonderful working with you all these years, and we've been. I used to call you my religious partner in crime. So it's wonderful to be here with you again on this another year of UN Harmony Week. You know, every week we say February 1 to 7 is UN Harmony Week. And I want to use this forum to look at religious harmony. Ever since this issue about the UN General Assembly adopted the resolution on the Harmony Week, I think it was in 2010 or so,
Yeah.
which is
They
about
made the resolution in 2010.
yes, which is
11
about 12 years today.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, what has been our successes? What have we harmonized? Even in my own religion, as a Christian, we have not harmonized anything. Not to talk of bringing the entire world religion together. So what track are we living? And this is a serious concern. What track are we really living in trying to celebrate World Harmony Week every year? Or is it just coming to talk as the usual thing UN is known for too much speaking English, French, and other languages? Is it just that? What is really our achievement? Assuming like the youth that just spoke, what can he boast of from the Harmony Week? Today, conflict wars is increasing everywhere. Start from the homes, the community, the society, nation to nation. Political wars, religious wars. I don't want to go into the aspect of gender issues because that is another ball game. What do we do in a time like this? Because God is watching us. Just COVID-19 has triggered everyone, putting uncertainties, killing trust. A lot of us are not taking COVID vaccine because we lost the trust. We don't know what it is. No confidence in anyone anymore. If you take it to the home, husbands and wives no longer have confidence and trust with each other. The children are at bar with the family. You come to the wider society, even in government, elected government, there are conflicts and wars among them. So what are we harmonizing? Each year has been discussions, talking together, bringing religion together. Before COVID, The whole UN this week will be filled with different type of religion. Name them. The traditional religion will fight against the Christian religion. The Christian and Muslim will fight each other. The Hindu will fight, and all this what. Segregation everywhere. Now, is the Harmony Week doing what is expected to do, or are we trying to play another form of game under the umbrella of United Nations? What do we do? You see, in a religion where we cannot sit together, in a world, in a planet where we cannot sit together on a round table and believe in ourselves, trust in ourselves, have confidence in ourselves, come up with a strategy that can bind us together in spite of your faith. And I want to refer you to the resolution on 2010 when the Harmony Week was resolved. One of the resolutions is recognizing that the moral imperative of all religions, convictions, and beliefs call for peace, tolerance, and mutual understanding. Reaffirms that mutual understanding and interreligious dialogue constitute important dimensions of a culture of peace. Recalling with appreciation various global, regional, and sub-regional initiatives on mutual understanding and interfaith harmony. These were the resolutions when the World Harmony Week was adopted. Mutual understanding of world religion, not Christians, not Catholics, not Pentecostal, not Hindu. World religion, all faith, having a mutual understanding. Now the question is that mutual understanding in us today? Hell no. 12 years after, and 8 years to the end of the 2030 agenda. So, in a time like this, we have to think seriously of how we can redefine religious harmony. I have a sister in Nigeria. We are Anglicans. And she was looking for a job in a school, in a college, a PhD holder, in a college that is owned by Catholics. The only question they ask her is, are you Anglican or Catholic? And she said boldly she's an Anglican. They said you can go. Academic institution. The only question she was asked, she was disqualified, not on the grounds of not having the qualification, but on the ground that the religious conflict. An Anglican should not work in a Catholic school. In an academic institution, not any other thing. This thing happened 2 years ago, just before the COVID. So it's not like we are not aware, we have not started the World Harmony Week. A couple, just yesterday in the church, one of the sisters complained of what her ex-husband is doing diabolically with her. Yet they were wedded in the church, taking everything she had worked for in that marriage and using diabolical powers to kill her. In the era of World Harmony Week, these are experiences. So I really want us to consider the fact that we are not just speaking English. We are not just wasting time, but we in the civil societies, we in the religious organizations who understand what the world is talking about. Let us rephrase our thinking. Let us be more dynamic. Because the world is expanding in turmoil, in situations and circumstances. We don't know which belly that will enter soon. We have just entered the belly of COVID-19 and it's shaking everybody, it's stampeding everybody. Everything, including economic resources, is being stampeded. When Jonah in the Christian book disobeyed God, he entered the belly of fish. And in the world today, we are in the belly of COVID-19 because we are disobeying God. We need to come together. We need to change our thinking. We need to address some of these things that keeping us tied down, that we cannot have a relationship. My cousin wanted to marry a Muslim. It was a hell no in the family up to today. Hell no in the family. As if they are not human beings. The ministry, the church said, hell no, you cannot have relation with unbelievers.
Hallelujah.
So some of these things are things that is touching our life. We that are in ministry, we that are looking at how to speak out the word to build a character generation. I want to end by referring us to the Secretary General report on the common agenda. One of the points is leave no one behind. Religion should harmonize and leave no religion behind. We have 8 years to go, or even less than 8 years to go, 8 years to go to the 2030 agenda. We need to think about coming together. Let us stop living our various beliefs in our various religious faiths to antagonize other ones. We are pursuing one God, no matter how we define it. We still have one God. Existing, one God that created us. We are still formed in the image and likeness of God, all of us. So let us, in the course of moving the harmony with religious harmony, should begin to think, how can we bring all religions together to fight one cause so that God will see us as one? Let us stop leaving each other behind. And by coming together at one, we'll be able to promote peace and prevent conflict with one voice. We will be able to build trust. We will be able to boost partnerships among religions. There are some religions that are extraordinarily rich. When we come together, they can support those who are not rich. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared to work together to harmonize our inner peace. We need to be prepared to call on God with one voice. We need to be prepared to have pure heart, just as Jesus Christ taught us in the book, the Synoptic Gospel. Blessed are the pure in heart. We need and must thirst for righteousness. That is what we have to do, and many more. We need to promote harmony among people regardless of faith. God is not double. It's just one God watching us. We are currently in the belly of COVID-19. We don't know which belly will come again. Jonah was in the belly of fish for 3 days. And on hell, it was not easy for him. Just as it's not easy for us now.
Dr. Ada.
I want to do a wake-up call. And I also end with Secretary General's wake-up call. He said, to reaffirm faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and work of human persons, in the equal rights of men and women and of nations large and small, to establish conditions under which justice and peace for international law can be maintained, and to promote social progress and better standard of life in large freedom. We believe in the value of collective efforts to achieve a better world and founded the United Nations to that end. That was the Secretary General Common Agenda. And I leave you with that. That time is now for religious harmony to think inwards, come together. Let us marry, romance each other, love each other to promote peace so that others who are not in any religion will be able to know that there will be a time where the world can come together as one. I thank you.
Thank you, Ada. You brought a lot of points. And we make the change through our partnerships. This is the way we move, you know. We won't wait for countries to change. We work with the public because we are the people supposed to change things in the world. I believe in that philosophy. Now I like to invite Dr. Annie Kalayjian. She's the founder and the leader of the Meaningful World. So many events I partner with her. She does yoga events, cultural events, health events, and youth. A lot of youth. She guides wonderfully, you know, move around the world, and this is a thing we need dynamic leaders. Dr. Annie Kalayjian.
Thank you so much, Guruji. It's my honor to be part of this wonderful, majestic team of interfaith healers. And may I please have the screen sharing? I prepared a short PowerPoint so that I can share with you. Thank you so much. And I'd like to share the PowerPoint. Could you see the screen?
Yes, only white we are seeing.
Oh, white? Oh, sorry. Let's see why it's white. Okay, let me go back to the conference. And okay. Sorry, today I'm gonna talk, let's see, can you see it now?
No.
No. Okay, let's go back to screen sharing. And how is it now?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, great. So today I'd like to address interfaith spiritual growth and healing through meaning making, forgiveness, and gratitude. I really echo, especially Dr. Eda's presentation, the last presentation, that yes, although we have wonderful attempts in 5 languages at the UN, the practice is a little lagging, and that's why we're here. And we thank Dr. Guruji. I was going to call you doctor. Are you a doctor, Guruji? Well, I just gave you the honorary doctorship here. Our mottos, we start with something positive. When one helps another, both become stronger. And accepting what is, letting go what was, and having faith in what will be. So gratitude is a very essential part of bringing us together. That would prevent all the divisions. We feel grateful for God and Spirit working through us. We begin to feel grateful for everyone and everything in our lives. And it's like a shifting our mood. Even in the mornings, I realize when I start with gratitude, which I offer, everyone here to download a wonderful gratitude app for free. And it just reminds you, a gentle reminder when you're busy and you have to rush to Zoom meetings, that take that 1 minute and be grateful. And then I realize my feelings, even my physical pains and arthritis pains and other discomforts start melting away when I write about what I'm grateful for. So Meaningful World uses three-pronged approach to bring people together, as Guruji mentioned, the youth, the disabled, the traumatized in 52 countries that we work in. We focus first on healing the wounds. When the wounds are healed, people are more open to sharing. Then through research and publications, we share it to the community at large, NGOs, and the UN delegates as well. And then hopefully we work on some policy revisions, because there are some antiquated laws, like just mentioned Dr. Ada, in terms of universities asking your religion instead of your credentials. You know, that is supposed to change those policies. And we've been slowly changing them in America, and I hope that we continue in other places the same way. Gender discriminations in many organizations. So there are actually 5, I'm sorry, that title says wrong. We work on 5 different traumas: individual, collective, such as the pandemic and racism; vicarious, which is the healers like you and I working with traumatized people and hearing 10 hours a day trauma, then we could be also secondarily vicariously impacted, as well as generational trauma that comes from colonization and genocides and etc., and horizontal violence. So you see, there are a lot that we're dealing with. Horizontal violence is when we put our own brothers and sisters down. We internalize the colonizers, aggressors, and perpetrators' mindset, and we put our own people down. And even there was research done in terms of children were given blonde and black dolls, and asked them which one is prettier. And even African American boys and girls chose the white blonde one, saying that was prettier. So these are things that we need to change, and can happen only through research. So in order to transform horizontal trauma, we have wonderful campaigns in every language to not be like a crab in the bucket. I'm not sure if you've seen crabs in the bucket pulling one another down and not getting out of the bucket. So we always emphasize, be a true humanitarian, lift one another up, and don't be like a crab in the bucket pulling one another down, which is we do a lot in every country. We have this kind of horizontal violence. So healing doesn't mean that the damage never existed because we can't change the past. Healing means that the damage no longer controls and runs your life, so that you are angry all the time and you're trying to ultimately you're going to displace that anger on your loved ones. So working within the SDGs, I think we emphasize a lot on 1, 3, 4, education and well-being, as well as 5 in terms of women's equality, and 10 equity, as well as peace, 16, and 17 partnership. So these are all very important, but it should not just be beautiful, colorful banners. It should be integrated into the practice. I really second everything that you mentioned, Dr. Ada. So starting with gratitude kind of shifts all the pain that we have gone through, and it opens up. It's like a great secret for us. It's like a kernel that can flower into everything we need to know. And we don't use that a lot. We talk about it and we say namaste, we honor one another, but gratitude goes a long way. And there's multiple research about it in terms of how gratitude impacts our coping every day. We become more resilient, recover more quickly if we're traumatized. But the gratitude is really a shift of channel from obsession to peace, from stuckness to freedom, from fear to love, from anxiety to relaxation, from worry to mindful peace. Because once we are in that gratitude state, we're not worried about the past that we can't change, the future that we can't know what it is. We only can focus on the present. So there are, as I mentioned, many research studies on gratitude, very important for our healing and transforming our negative mindset. That's very important. Concomitantly, I like to share the importance of forgiveness. Now, every religious studies or religious organizations and churches and mosques, everyone emphasizes the importance of forgiveness. But we need a lot more to turn it into practice. That's another area that we talk about it, but we don't really practice. Now, a lot of the forgiveness happens if we have healed the wound, if we have still emotional wounds that are oozing, that are in pain and infected and in pus, we're not going to be able to make that leap into the forgiveness. Forgiveness, as Viktor Frankl says in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, comes only after healing. And Gandhi says only the strong can forgive, not the weak. We don't call it the weakness or strength. We just call it that they're not ready yet. They need to heal the pain. Forgiveness transforms our pain. We have done research in like 40 countries, and for whoever was able to practice forgiveness, their level of trauma was very low, even though they were in the same country, the same genocide in Rwanda, Congo, Sierra Leone, Haiti, Armenia, Palestine. But once they have healed their trauma and come to forgiveness, then their trauma was apparently very, very low. And this is what we need to learn more about, how to forgive. We have a book on forgiveness and reconciliation, which was used for the first time for peacekeeping amongst countries. As I mentioned, Gandhi said, the weak cannot forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. But we don't like to call weak and strong. We'd like to illuminate people that it is, in fact, due to trauma. So my definition of forgiveness is shifting from that automatic knee-jerk reaction of the ego. What does the ego want to do? Oh, I want to hurt you back. I want to hurt you even more. I want you to feel the pain that you caused me. But causing pain is not going to end your pain. And this is how we have to shift from that automatic ego reaction to a non-reactive conscious response. What's a conscious response? Empathy, considering that the other person is also a human being. Yes, they were not mindful. Who in the right mind will hurt someone else? Definitely they were not mindful. And also we don't want to change ourselves. If we are a peaceful person, just because the other person is violent, you don't want to change your own personality and be a violent person. And Maya Angelou said, hate, it has caused a lot of problems in the world, but it has not solved one yet. And the same with wars, and the government's still using wars as a weapon. So disarming ourselves would be a good start today, letting go of anger, negativity, greed, envy, rage. And you're going to say, well, this is all in holy scriptures. They all are in there. but we need to know how to on a day-to-day basis. Do we learn ever how to manage our emotions? Is there in any curriculum? Do we learn how to forgive? No, we talk about them, but we don't learn. And as Guruji mentioned, we have monthly programs on last Saturday of each month, and we step by step show people how to forgive, how to heal from trauma, and how to embrace this interfaith mentality of embracing everyone because we are all brothers and sisters. And forgiveness is a choice. And we start with first teaching people how to manage their emotions, because if you cannot manage your emotions, it's like you can't even drive your vehicle. You're in the car, you're going to cause damage to yourself or to others. So first, it's like the ABC of human relations. We need to know how to manage our emotions. And from there, we can then learn how to heal our trauma and how to forgive. As another wonderful saying, forgive people in your life, even those who are not sorry for their actions. Don't wait for them. You don't want to put your healing on hold. It is your responsibility. Holding on to your anger, it just hurts you more than anybody else. It causes anxiety, anger, hatred, compulsions. Then you become depressed at the end or start addictive personality using drugs, sex, gambling, and other unhealthy patterns. So the benefits are amazing. It just opens up your possibilities, and you are filled with love and you share love with others. But there's a lot of myths about forgiveness, that forgiveness, if you forgive, that you forget, and that the dead people will be upset. You know, these are things that people told me individually in my lectures, but they're not really viable. So quickly, religions, every religion talks about the benefits of forgiveness. Judaism and Islam have conditions. You have to do certain things, apologize and pay reparation. Buddhism focuses on forgiving self and not creating more problems, because that it comes from ignorance. Christianity offers to be mindful and forgive 70 times 7 in times without keeping score. Hinduism focuses on karma, which is a key concept, and ignorance is the problem. Due to Maya, the illusion, we don't perceive what is real, and we get big inflated egos. So on and on. Of course, when you come to our workshops, we can go a little deeper in these. I see the time is up. So I won't be able to go into the religions and forgiveness, maybe another time, Guruji, right?
Yeah.
And so we do have 7 steps for forgiving, so we can share that as well. And our latest book I recommend is Forget Me Not, that has step-by-step guidance how to do all that I mentioned. And as just wanted to show some photos before I end from different countries that we have served, Pakistan and Israel and Palestine, and establishing peace and forgiveness gardens, and how important nature is around us for our own healing. And my last 2 slides, here is an actual sculpture at the Cathedral St. John the Divine in Manhattan on 110th Street. And this sculpture was made by a Native American. And you see there is a human silhouette, a large, a smaller, and with the red dot, that is the unborn fetus, is 7 generations. So the message of the sculpture is, in all your actions and deliberations, be mindful of your impact on the next 7 to 14 generations. And recently, the research shows through DNA, it's being passed on up to 14 generations. So here we are, just like Guruji. This is a woman in southern India who consistently for 25 years went and nurtured this valley that had no flowers at all. And she put flower bulbs and seeds in this valley, and she's long passed on. But you see what she has left behind. One person, 25 years with commitment, and you see the rainbow colors of Mother Nature, and just the same as chakra colors, purple, yellow, orange, green, and red, etc. So my question is, actually I'm preaching to the preachers, but my question is, be mindful of your seeds and how you're planting them and how you're nurturing them, because we're going to be gone. This is a temporary physical life that we have, but what are we leaving behind is the question. Thank you so much, Guruji. Namaste. Thank you everyone else for your attention.
Can you stop the share? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. That's wonderfully made with that clip, and so much meaningful. Definitely that meaningful world is there. You brought it very well. You know, we'll make a separate program for longer talk. It is very important to bring these psychological issues, you know.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Important. So now I'm going to, before asking questions, I want to bring last speaker, that is His Holiness Rajrajeshwar Guruji from London. He is the founder and spiritual leader of the International Siddha Ashram Shakti Center, my longtime friend. Guruji, floor is for you.
Namaskar, Guruji, pranam to everyone. Very nice discussion was happening from Dr. Ani, and the subject I was listening very carefully is a beautiful forgiveness, forget. And I always believe there is two important words in interfaith. All the religion normal they follow. Forgive and forget. Sometimes you can forgive something, but you cannot forget. Sometimes you forget something, but you cannot forgive. So that is the two words philosophy. You can talk hours and hours. But I believe you can keep grudge in your heart. You can keep negativity in your heart. Then you cannot develop anything. The subject is interfaith. What is the interfaith do in human life? We always talk about our own religion. We always respect our own religion. But have we thought to respect another religion so we can achieve, we can receive love from the another religion? What is the important in interfaith? And I believe the interfaith unlock the power of the religious and traditional. There is a key to give you guidance, inspiration, and more comfort each other with the different saints, religion, different gurus, acharyas, and practitioners. The two words which is always we discuss, which is the Dr. Ani said, forget, forgive. Sometimes we discuss, but sometimes we don't put in our practical life. Many scriptures we read and we teach, but the essence is that how many percentage we are practicing in our life. If I said someone, do not smoke, but behind the back, we smoke ourselves. So how we can give the advice? So the interfaith importance is that in interfaith, we learn from each other. And when we learn from each other, we practice each other religion in a positive manner. So when we practice, we leave the smoke on one side and then we can say strongly, can you please, if you do not smoke, that is better for your health. So that is called practical life. So Dileep Guruji from US, who's organizing such a beautiful events and the subject. And I really like it because as per Dr. Ani, which is I was listening, very practical. She researched a lot of things and they put in the screen. And why is that? For the people benefit, for the community, for the interfaith. And this is research is not the small thing. The butter is in the milk, but how to make butter from the milk, that is the procedure. And this procedure, which is we can learn from our own religion, and also we can learn from the interfaith. One person is making tea, that is called Indian tea. One person is making Chinese tea. One person is making American tea. All the tea philosophy is the same, but the taste is different. The same way in interfaith, all the practitioners, they're practicing in the different mantras, different therapy of the meditation, different therapy of the chakras and kundalini and chakras, muladhara to sahasrara chakras, and all the different chakras and practicing different way. What is the main goal? To receive the peaceful in mind, to receive the energy, divine energy in our body. So if we receive the divine energy in the body, we can give someone positivity from our life. So my main point to say about the interfaith, we learn from you, we learn from everyone, we respect everyone, and we'll try our best to give divine energy and love to everyone in society. Dileep Guruji, thank you so much. I'm so sorry because I have another event to go, but I make sure, because as per my discussion, I said I will come for even 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but I will come. And my apologies, which is I could not attend in your previous event, but at the moment there is because of the United Kingdom, there's little events going on at the moment here and there in physically one-to-one. So we are trying our best to organize more and more event, one-to-one events for the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ji, for joining and sharing your wisdom. I have a short question to three of you.
Yeah.
You can see three of you on the screen with
me. Yeah.
What are the important things to change? Each person will say one point you want to change in the world.
What is the, sorry, if you repeat again?
What do you want to change in the world? 1 point. Next person will talk about another point. Each person can take 1 minute each.
So start, Dr. Ani.
Yeah, please.
I would start with our emotional management, checking in every morning and managing it. If it's higher than measuring each emotion from 0 to 10, 10 being the most severe. And whichever emotion is higher than 4, to take a mental health day and focus on sitting and healing that before you move on and you take your energy and spread it to the world.
Thank you, Dr. Annie. Dr. Ada?
Yes, I'll be a kindergarten right now. Can you repeat the question?
What changes you want to make in the world? Take 1 point. You have 1 minute.
Oh, one. I am interested, very much interested in gender issues. And the second one is improvement of quality and inclusive education in community classrooms, especially in developing countries. And thirdly, through faith-based initiative, I am committed to building character, building a positive character for our generation and the kingdom of God. Thank you.
Great. Guruji?
I believe the nature, our own nature, because the human is happy with the nature and unhappy with the nature as well. So we are own creators. If we get to eat pizza, then we are very happy. Oh, we like pizza and we are eating pizza, so we are very happy. One day we don't get whatever we want, so we are unhappy. So I would like to mention the nature is so important to change and to receive the positive energy and inner happiness for our own. So if we are happy, we can make other happy. We can make other happy. Community is happy. Community is happy. All nation will be happy. All nation will be happy. All world will be happy. So the nature is very important. Thank you.
Yeah, all of these points are coming to 1 point. That's a proper education from childhood.
Yeah.
How to behave in the society, how to take care of ourselves, how to be a model for the world through our own actions, and how to take care of the nature. So much to learn about, and every single moment is education for us. A spiritually oriented education we need in the world now. Religion should be in the side, spiritually oriented. Let us see what we can do. Thank you everyone for joining. I like to invite Michelle DellaFave for our last song. Michelle, floor is for you.
Guruji. And of course, peace on earth is what all our goals are right now. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. take each moment and live each moment in peace and harmony. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. To take each moment and live each moment in peace and harmony. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin
Hallelujah. You brought us to a different world.
Thank you.
Oh my God. So I am going to open up the floor for everyone. I see one of my friend Monica Sanchez from the UN NGO community is here, and Maximo Perino from Scientology, Remy Alapo from our Interfaith group, and Tribal Singh from the Interfaith group, and Peace Lights all are here, and Chris from the Unification group. And let us see, Monica Sanchez.
Good morning. God bless.
Yeah,
I
would you
just
like
want
to
to
share
say that
something? Yeah, please.
I
Please.
can't hear you. I'm driving, so it's
Oh,
a
you're right.
little.
Okay, okay.
I just want to say God's blessing to everybody. And World Interfaith Harmony Week is something so important. Congratulations on all your program. I was listening to all of the address, and it's so important for us to harmonize. So I hope moving forward, there would be more consciousness on the word harmony, and we will be able to get to a better place. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Monica. Monica always does a lot of wonderful events, and Ada joined with her. I also joined with her. Remy also joined with her. So this Corona made us little difficult situation, but online we can reach to anywhere in the world. Over 500 people are watching our meeting. I know it will grow 1,000 and 2,000 within 24 hours. So whatever we can do, we'll do it. We never give up. So that's something we'll learn. We have to move forward. Whatever happening in our life, that is a good lesson for us. And if anybody want to share anything, we have few minutes. Then we have to wind up.
May I say, Guruji,
Yeah.
just a couple of words.
Right.
Founder of Sikhism, Guru Nanak, 550 years ago, if at his heart was the ministry of, at the heart of his ministry was interfaith movement, interfaith dialogue and interfaith understanding. And if he was here today, he would rejoice on programs like this and interfaith harmony. Because that is really the road to peaceful coexistence, peace in the world if we really want. And as we understand right from our childhood onwards, talk more about the divine order, the way like Guru Rajrajeshwar ji talked about the nature, and other speakers, Annie and others talked about. These are wonderful ideas, and this program has been such an immensely uplifting and rewarding. Thank you for organizing it.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Remy Alapo, Dr. Remy Alapo.
Namaste, everybody. Peace and blessings to you all. Again, it's wonderful to be here this morning, listening to all the speakers. Dr. Ada, I definitely share in the, thoughts of, some of your presentation. Many of us, especially also coming from Nigeria, were faced with such, on a daily basis, especially given that, the country is so diverse with a population of so many ethnic groups. So I definitely share in your point of view. And Dr. Annie, of course, we've had many sessions together where you've, provided the same, presentation. And I'm actually one of your students from your program. So I do use it from time to time. The forgiveness and gratitude, information that was taught. So it's good to be here, and I wish everyone all the best. The last day of the World Interfaith Harmony Week, may we continue to have religious harmony and work together for one common good as one family under God. God bless you all. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. So we just finished only this 7 days program. Other events are following up, same link. I'm trying to put different types of programs, including dialogue on medical systems from different doctors, different philosophies from different countries. I'll update time to time, and the last event will be on February 28, our final gala, 37th Annual World Interfaith Festival. I never thought when I started these programs in 1985, how it will go. I didn't think I'm going to come to New York or I am going to be part of the UN NGOs, nothing. I know when we had a quiz competition in my school, they asked who is the Secretary General of the UN. I gave the answer. I am the only person answer. That's the knowledge I had, nothing else. So God is, our universe is guiding me from one place to another place. I just go with the flow of nature. That's the way I go. So I'm glad I'm part of our community. I am glad you all are my friends, my divine friends with the different talents. So I can utilize your talents for the community, global community. And so I'm proud of you. I love you all. I appreciate the work you all do in your community and with us. It's very important to collaborate in different times. And definitely we'll have a Women's History Month programs in March, and April Earth Festival, and May some other events are coming up. And definitely June will be 30 days in International Day of Yoga and our World Interfaith Yoga Festival. That is our bread and butter. We'll make sure our state will make another resolution for us. So try our best, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
Thank you, Guruji.
Namaste, namaste.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Michelle, for beautiful songs.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle. Take care. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. God bless you.
Imam Shamsi Ali, Bhuvnesh, Khosla ji, Charles, Chakti, Ada, Rami, and Kripal ji, Misha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TK's book is also very important.